Guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Now you can, with the world's softest pajamas by Pajamagram. Created by a team of pajama experts, the world's softest PJs are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. She'll love how heavenly they feel. Includes free gift packaging and Christmas delivery is guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
This is the Locker Room Podcast.
Farnham, Ryan Hollins, who is on the ones and twos today as well, or at least not legitimately, but he is certainly influencing it. Antoine Walker as well. Telephone number 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. We spent the majority of the first hour so far talking about Lonzo Ball. The ratings will come out Monday for the Friday and Saturday games that were shown on ESPN. Certainly living in Los Angeles like I do, I will tell you there is a vested interest in every move that Lonzo Ball makes. Expectations come from the outside. They also come internally. Here's Magic Johnson, Lakers president, talking about what they expect from Lonzo Ball.
But it's a lot of expectations. You know, everybody wants him to be great, and we want him to be great, but it's going to take time. He's at the most difficult position in basketball, the point guard position. And now, Coach, as we see, there are so many great point guards in our league. So he's going to have his hand full every single night.
Kind of quieting. I think what he's trying to do is be realistic, and that's something that I think a lot of times has been lost based on a lot of what his dad has said and the public discussion on Lonzo Ball. And Antoine, you've mentioned this at least 3 or 4 times, the difficulty of that position. From your vantage point of being in the NBA, I agree with Magic, it's the most difficult position in the NBA. But how difficult is it for a young 19-year-old skinny guard to come into the league and play against grown men?
You know, it's hard. And I'm going to just take you back to when I came in the league. I came in the league, I was 19 years old, just the same as Ball was. But when I came to the Boston Celtics. Kind of the same thing that he's going to the Lakers. So you got my head coach was M.L. Carr. My assistant coach was Dennis Johnson, Casey Jones. Tommy Heinsohn was doing TV. Him and Bob Cousy both were doing TV. JoJo White was working in the front office. Larry Bird was still a part of the team. So it was tremendous pressure to come in because the Celtics had some rough times, and it's kind of what the Lakers went through. Reggie Lewis passed away. Len Byers' situation, he ended up passing away. The best player on the roster at that time, I don't know if people remember, was Dino Raja. So, so when I came in, it was tremendous pressure for me to want as a 6th pick to be very good, make sure that they hit a home run with this because they had failed and they've had a couple bad years. They wanted to get back to the glory days of the Celtics. So I understand the pressure that Ball's going to be under playing for a storied franchise like that. And it doesn't help when Magic sits at a press conference and tell him he hopes to have. Ball puts his number in the rafters up there. So it's tough. I mean, because you're coming in behind a lot of greats. So I understand what he's going through. It's going to be a lot of pressure, but you got to continue to try to get better and better and put the work in the gym. And people will understand that. People will follow. One thing about Laker fans and Celtics fans, they appreciate hard work.
Let's go to Sam in Ohio listening to us on 1410 ESPN. Sam, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Great.
See, I'm a Celtics fan, and I've liked Lonzo, throughout the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's his dad. Coming out, ruining the shoe deals, doing all this, just nonstop running his mouth. I think Lonzo, the best thing for him is for his dad just to be quiet, let him play ball, come out, show what he has, show what he can do, and then, you know what I mean, let his work talk for itself, especially playing for the Lakers. I mean, if he comes out, Magic Johnson sees that he puts in work, all Magic does has to tell his dad, be quiet for a little bit, let your son do what he needs to do.
Sam, let me ask you this. Will you watch the reality show?
Probably
not. The
not.
LeVar Ball reality show.
No, I'm getting sick and tired of just hearing him talk. It drives me nuts to see him on the sidelines. That's all. I mean, telling him that he's better than Jordan or he's better than this. I mean, he hasn't proven anything. And I don't want to buy shoes from somebody that doesn't have anything under his belt. I mean,
I don't want to buy shoes that cost $500 personally, Sam. I don't know what your bank account looks like, but mine doesn't allow me to do that. I appreciate your call, Sam. And, guys, it is interesting, though, because the lightning rod that is LeVar Ball, he's almost like I was watching Ramona's interview with him, and we played the snippet earlier where he said that Lonzo's going to end up being better than Magic Johnson. He's got to stop that right now. And you know why? Because he's got to save his good stuff for the reality show. $33 million estimated over 4 years for the new reality show that'll be on Facebook. And if that all comes to fruition, I mean, I think we'll see maybe a quieter public LeVar Ball so that he can be more boisterous and get you to watch his television show, because if you get that just means more revenue, more money in the short term, long term. And to me, he is Lonzo's Don King. He is the guy, like so often. Look, Lonzo, I know Lonzo. Ryan, you've spent time with him as well. He's a very humble kid that works his tail off. He spent time in the gym after practices consistently at UCLA. He never was a distraction with his teammates. Nope. His dad is a marketer, and his dad is his promoter, and it's very much so in the likeness of a Don King.
Absolutely, and you know what? I want to open the mind to these narrow-minded people, but you need these narrow-minded people to make the money, because they don't see what's going on. They don't understand that he opened the doors for athletes to make money, a percentage off of their own shoe. Yes, we love Nike, we love Jordan, we love Adidas, we love Reebok, whatever it may be. We love all those brands. We love the money they throw at us, but the money they make in comparison, it doesn't compare. So what he opened up is for Lonzo to actually make money off his own brand. And guess what? This is the one thing in the media. This is what LeVar is taking. You either love him or you hate him. You feel some type of way. When he's on TV, he's driving ratings. That's the reason he just got $33 million from Facebook. He's doing his job. Unfortunately, he's playing you guys like a fiddle. You guys are his little instrument, his puppets, and you're all in. You're getting tired of him. You're bored of him, but you keep watching. You called in. My man said, I'm tired of LeVar. But he felt some type of way to get on the phone, call in, and have something to say. So listen. Hats off to the Big Baller brand, to LeVar, to Lonzo for what they're doing. They're creating something. They're building something. They're taking advantage of an opportunity. Let's say Lonzo gets hurt, God forbid. Let's say he ends up being a bust. The man just made a lot of money for the rest of his life and for his family going forward. There's an overall concept. When you get to the NBA, when you get to professional sports, there's too many guys, Twan, that get used and abused, and they're taking full advantage of this opportunity. The best thing about what Lonzo does, he's 6'4", he passes, he distributes. He's not living and die whether he knocks down a three-point shot or not. He can play that way for the rest of his life, for the rest of his career, and if he's great or if he's not great, he's going to keep on getting chances, he's going to keep on getting money, and he's a household name now, and he will continue to be a household name moving forward.
All right, but Antoine, if this was your father, if LeVar Ball was your dad, how would you handle going into the NBA and hearing these comments that he consistently has said? How would you approach that?
I mean, I'll be disappointed. I probably would want to say something to my dad, and I agree with you, Sean. I mean, it's to the point now. You got to watch some of your comments. Like, I mean, let him go out here and create his own name, and obviously you create your own brand. But you can't be saying that he's better than Magic, or you got to respect guys that have played this game before you and how good they were and paved the way for your son to have an avenue to play in the league. I wish he would just embrace the fact that his son is the number 2 pick in the draft. He's playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. This is the best time of his life, and just take the attention from yourself and just build the brand. Continue to build the Big Baller brand and let your son play on the court. But you got to stop with the comments about he's better than Magic Johnson and better than all these other players, and he hasn't played one professional game yet.
This is The Locker Room on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Drug protocols in major sports. How the testing is gone, where the responsibility lies, whether it's with the players, the league, and then how do you handle it when you get in trouble. And ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Create your Name Your Price tool. Choose the range of coverage options and then pick the price that works best for you. It's Progressive Insurance. D'Angelo Williams with Adam Schefter on his podcast earlier this week. Know them from Adam Podcast. Here's what he had to say about players that get in trouble with the drug protocol programs.
So if a guy get busted for pot or street drugs or something like that, they suspend him for 4 games. He can't come around the guys that's going to keep him from the pot. They put him in They going to put him right back in there with the guys that he got busted with. They isolate him from the positive vibes and influence that he going to have in the locker room that's going to keep him off of the stuff. They're going to put him back in the vicinity, in the area, in the place where he got busted at. So the guys that you're trying to keep him away from, you push him back to them because that's who he's going to fall back on.
All right, so that was D'Angelo Williams with Adam Schefter talking about it. All right, shoulder the responsibility. Where does it go? I mean, there's a lot to dissect with what D'Angelo just said, Antoine Walker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, responsibility is the player. I mean, I look at it, I'm a little bit more, I look at it in a sense like, well, basketball is different than football. I'm not sure how football works, but basketball, you get tested 4 times. It's very random, and you don't know when it's coming. So you got to be prepared for that. And I wasn't a smoker, but so I wasn't a guy that did that. But guys that do it, and we all know it's a lot of guys that do it in the game. So, I mean, that's on you to be responsible enough to know when you can do it and when you can't do it. I don't want to do anything to put myself in jeopardy or to actually put my money in jeopardy at that point. So you got to be smart about it. I think it's on the player because you know this is coming and you know it's going to be random.
Ryan, when you think about what D'Angelo Williams was just saying, you're basically saying, okay, hey, don't come back to the locker room, and that's what his point was, where there's a nucleus that is built in that could maybe help you get through this process. Instead, they kind of ostracize you and keep you away from that family-type atmosphere that so often is developed inside of a locker room. Does he have a point?
You're a pro. You signed up for this. You knew the rules when you made the mistake. When you kicked it with him, you knew you had a chance to be right back with him and right back on the streets. Can I make this statement right now? Because I'm frustrated. NFL players, this is just stupid. You guys are stupid for getting caught. I'm sorry, it is. It's a mess. And if you can't leave your homeboys alone, the guys that you grew up with from day one who are bad influences, who smoke around you all the time and they go, hey, dog, just hit this. Don't kick it with those guys. Don't be around them. And I say it's stupid because you guys get tested, as Twan said, once a year. We get randomly tested all through the year and through the summer. And I think it's like 6 tests now because they test for, steroids or HGH, all kind of mess. NBA players, you're not having the chance to do that. These dudes get tested once a year. Now, I see both sides of it. I understand the medicinal use of it, and I'm actually for that. I believe that makes sense. But I also understand NFL has big-name sponsors, and they can't sponsor guys as allegedly with the brand of, they're potheads. They're smoking. Imagine if it was just okay to smoke. These dudes would be on their Instagram, their Twitter, and they'd be blowing it down. There'd be a bunch of Snoop Dogs in the NFL. We can't have that for branding. So there's this happy medium where they say, guys, we're going to test you once a year. Don't come to camp high. Don't mess up. Don't get in the program. And if you're in the program, make up your mind. Is smoking weed more important or being on that field? And I also don't like is these guys get stuck on painkillers, man. They get stuck on painkillers. They get stuck on everything else. And that's even worse than them smoking weed for a medicinal use, not recreational, a medicinal use, okay? So I'm frustrated because you guys got to be smarter than this. And if you make a mistake, you are a grown man. You are a grown man.
Right. Here's the thing. I think, look, painkillers is a completely different topic than
But this is the battle, Sean, because these dudes get beat up so bad that it's either they kill themselves on painkillers and there's worse effects going forward, or weed, which does not have as worse of an effect. And I understand that battle, but the NFL gave them a happy medium and said, look, just don't do it for this week. Just don't do it for the month.
But where's the battle come now when it's legalized in so many states across the country all of a sudden?
We're a league with sponsors with big money behind it.
But
and
how
Ryan,
how can you say that, okay, it's legal in California starting soon. I don't know what the exact date is, but it's legal in California now. Let's just take California, for example. You're the Los Angeles Rams. If you're a player on the Rams, you can't do something that the guy that's sitting in the stands can do.
No, we are a kid-friendly league. Are you going to go to, what is their kids' initiative?
You can't say you're not going to come in when you've got guys that are in the league that have been charged with sexual battery.
And we're not for that, and the league isn't for that. And
yet they're still playing.
And yet it really happens. So they're a kid-friendly league. So you think you're going to go to what is it? What is their kid initiative? You have NBA Cares. I'm sure the NFL has NBA Help or NFL Help or whatever it may be. You're not going into the event blowing one down. No, the sponsors aren't for that. They're not for that. If you're on your Instagram blowing it down, it's a problem as an NFL player. So the league cannot condone that. They can't say it's okay. Do you know how ugly that would get? Do you know what it would look like if they say, man, you guys can smoke weed? They have given NFL players the happy medium. We're testing you once a year. And do not publicize this. We're not okay for it. It is an infraction of your it's a violation, infraction, whatever, of a breach of contract if you do it. And there are penalties for it because we have to protect this money. Because we work
protection of the shield has always been what Roger Goodell has said. And, of course, the player initiative for the kids is NFL Play 60. Antoine, I want to bring you into this conversation because, to me, it becomes a slippery slope when you're sitting there saying, okay, if you're worried about that, then are we worried about guys drinking alcohol or smoking cigarettes? When do we play the police of what athletes can or cannot do within the confines of a drug policy if that drug policy also includes things that the fan can do or anybody else can do in the world because it's legal?
Honestly, and I take this back, 2009, I'm in Miami. I had just took a buyout from the Memphis Grizzlies, and I'm in Miami on South Beach. I'm partying. I leave the club mansion and get pulled over. And the officer told me, hey, listen, I need you to blow. Yes, I had been drinking. I didn't think I was drunk, but I know I was over the limit. He said, I need you to blow. I was like, no, I was taught not to blow. And unfortunately, once I said that, he was like, well, I'm going to charge you with a DUI. So what I do, I end up getting a DUI that night. And to this day, I believe it stopped me from getting back into the NBA. So I think the onus is on the player to make sure, like Ryan said, we have stuff in our contract. You know what you can and cannot do. And if you choose to do those things, you got to be willing to deal with the consequences. And I think that it's in black and white, and we're making millions of dollars to hold ourselves and do things the right way. And if we choose to go the other way, you got to be willing to deal with the consequences. But I got a DUI in 2009. I believe it was a big part of me not making it back into the NBA.
Yeah.
And it was really nobody to blame but myself. I had to look myself in the mirror because I knew better.
Hey,
Yeah,
Sean.
Go ahead.
Sean, let me catch you off. Rule of thumb as an athlete, as a businessman, don't mess up your own money. There's a sponsorship. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of money that goes behind this. Don't mess up your own money. And so one of the points you said, Sean, why is it okay to drink alcohol, have a beverage in hand? I have a problem with that too. And I have a problem. I'm going to call somebody out. And this is a problem. And even with the public perspective, NFL champ, Super Bowl champ, stud, one of my favorite players, man. And I love this dude as a fellow big man. Gronkowski, he is infamous for getting on his social media and getting blasted, being seen, and he's chugging beers to the head, and it's who he is, and it's Gronk, look how great he is. Yeah, it's Gronk. Oh, he's the party guy. It's fun. That ain't okay, because if that was Odell Beckham or Colin Kaepernick getting blasted, it'd be a problem. Why is it okay for Gronk to do it? And I'm a Gronk fan, but yes, I agree. Alcoholic beverages, all that stuff. Listen, if you're a grown man, you want to sit down and have a drink, there's a drink in your picture, cool, man. You're a grown man. That's on you. Public perspective, that would not be okay for Odell to do. That would not be okay for Kaepernick.
Well, it wasn't okay for Johnny Manziel to do it either, though. Okay, and
Johnny just got wild, though.
But Johnny was doing the same thing Gronk is doing.
This is The Locker Room on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
My whole career I've always been, kind of the people's champ in the locker room.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I've never felt more alive.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applaud your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
This is the Locker Room Podcast.
Phone calls about the drug policies in sports. We'll start with Marvin listening to us on 580 ESPN down in Florida. Marvin, what's up? Welcome to the Locker Room.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. Good to hear. Good to be a part of this show. The one thing I want to say to any athlete, I would love to say, and I have said it to any athlete, especially of the African-American descent. Remember one thing, you're black first. And that's a reality. It's not a take. It's not a racist thought pattern. It's reality. I've gotten pulled over twice, because I'm black, and I know that's the reason why. Any athlete, any person, please understand that. There's a rhyme and a reason. And if you're an athlete and you're in the eyes of the public, that's what you are first. You're an athlete second. Remember that, always. It's not a slam or it's not a negative thought. It's just the real truth, that's all. And if an athlete wants to go out and literally get himself blitzed, you better remember that blitzing part of reality, because that same pedestal you put on it can be taken away from you at any second.
All right, I appreciate the phone call, Marvin. Yeah. Let's go to Joe in Nevada listening to us on 94.5 on ESPN Radio. Joe, what's up?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I just had a different perspective listening to you guys talking. I work in a private industry sector, but it's federally regulated, and I live in a state where weed is legal, and I voted for it, but I still can't do it based on my job, so I don't do it. It's the contract I've signed. It's the deal I made with my company, and although I'm pro it, I still don't touch it. It's a contract I made, and there's times I can drink based on being on call, things like that. And it's a contract I made, so I don't do it. I don't see why somebody who makes, 30, 40 times as much as me and is in the spotlight can't make those same respectable decisions. I don't do it based on a mortgage, things like that. So just a perspective I was looking at while listening to you guys this morning.
No, it's a valid thought process, Joe, on the fact that if you're a private company, and look, companies do have the right. I mean, regardless of whether it's professional sports, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a dentist, whether you work in a school, there are certain rules that you have to adhere to be able to successfully do your job.
Sean, and also, Sean, I don't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
These guys are going through pain, mental, physical, emotional. These guys are broken down and hurt. We see these big old gladiators running up and down the field, but you don't know how those knees and those backs and that back feels just to get on. One of my good friends, one of my brothers, Marvell Smith, he played offensive tackle in the ring with the Steelers and the 49ers, and he said he had to take so many meds just to practice. So these guys get beat up and get hurt to a point that I understand the smoking weed. I get it. I understand where it comes from. Just be smart about it. And my man made an amazing comment earlier. He said, don't forget you're black. There's some honest truth. We're not created equal. Obviously, people want to work towards equality, and you got a lot of people who are open-minded and smart and progressive, but we are not created equal, and you absolutely have to know that. You fool yourself if you think anything different. Now, I'm not going to tell you not to fight for equality or to try to be better and not to love your brother and think highly of the next man. But you are very foolish if, as an athlete or somebody in a spotlight, that you think that it's an equal playing ground. And right now, it isn't. And that's just what it is. And in spite of that, don't mess your money up, fellas.
Let's go to Ryan in New Jersey listening to us on 98.7 ESPN. Ryan, what's up? Welcome to the locker room.
Hey, thanks for taking the call. In my opinion, it all comes down to money, because alcohol and even pharmaceuticals, that's big American business. That's money that's going into America. That's why those things are, in my opinion, that's why they're more oppressed, because marijuana isn't a big American business. We're not a tropical environment. Yes, they have areas where they can grow it. I mean, in places where it's legal or it's legal for medical use, you have dispensaries that can produce it, but not mass produce it like some of the other places in the world can. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, alcohol is so much more dangerous than marijuana, especially for these athletes for a medicinal purpose. Because how many times has somebody gotten high, smoked some marijuana and went out and beat somebody up? And how many times has somebody gotten drunk and gotten into a bar fight or domestic issues or things like that? And these guys have legitimate pain that they're going through. I mean, my wife has her medical card because she has issues and she can't take pharmaceuticals. And that's the only reason she was able to get it. But there's so many people out there who could benefit from medicinal marijuana. But in my opinion, because it's not a big American business, it'll never be mainstream.
All right, I appreciate your phone call, Ryan. Antoine, I want to ask you this question because we talk about, a lot of this has been focused around the NFL because of D'Angelo Williams and the comments that he made with Adam Schefter. But from the NBA perspective, how hard and how difficult is the grind of the season?
It's very hard. I think obviously, when you think about you only really get one day off a week. Sometimes you play 4 games in 5 nights. And if you're one of those guys and in the league that's playing 35 to 40 minutes a night, which it is a couple guys per team that plays those type of minutes, I mean, it takes a toll on you. I mean, and Ryan understands this. It's days that you just don't practice. You just come in with your flip-flops on like, Coach, I can't go. I can't go today. Like, I'm not. And he understands it, and he gives you those days off, and he knows what your body goes through. So, and it's actually funny. It's one of the reasons a lot of guys love Doc Rivers. I mean, Doc Rivers will give you 2 days off.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Depending on the schedule. But it's brutal. Obviously, the flying. A lot of fans don't understand that you fly private. You're leaving after those games. Sometimes the fans may think you stand overnight. But, no, you're getting on the plane and you get in there to that next city at 3, 4 in the morning sometimes, depending on where you're going. So it's brutal going through the season.
When I traveled with the Clippers, and this was when I was covering the NBA, I traveled with the Lakers and the Clippers in the series where they both went and played in Phoenix. And that was the thing that was hardest for me because I was doing a radio show, doing a morning radio show in Los Angeles. We'd leave Phoenix immediately after the game was over, go straight to the airplane. Now, after media responsibilities, everything like that, it was well after 11 o'clock at night. By the time we got onto the plane, it was really about 1:30 in the morning. You land at about 2:45 in the morning, get in your car, and then the next thing you know, I'm doing radio that starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. And so there was like maybe an hour of sleep. I was exhausted. When I traveled with the Angels, same thing. Series ends, 3-game set in Baltimore, fly to Detroit, get up, early BP. That we get in at 4:30 in the morning because we were delayed. And then they're facing Justin Verlander, who's throwing 100 miles an hour at noon the next day. I mean, to me, that's the thing that amazes me most about professional athletes. You guys both lived it. You guys were both there and able to accomplish it. But the mental aspect and the physical aspect of trying to rebound on these travel days, it makes it all that much more difficult. And sometimes you have to plan for something else. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. And maybe that's what D'Angelo Williams did.
This is The Locker Room on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
I'm just asking for just one country song. That's all I want. Just
How
one.
about that? How about some honky tonk man? Don't break my heart, my heart.
No, that's Billy Ray Cyrus. That's not the honky tonk man. The honky tonk man was a professional wrestler, which then segues us into D'Angelo Williams. Really nicely done there, Ryan. D'Angelo Williams this week made his professional wrestling debut. He has long said he's a huge fan of professional wrestling. He showed up at a pay-per-view. It's not the first time that we've seen NFL players, professional athletes. Dennis Rodman did it once that showed up professional wrestling-wise. However, there was a difference with D'Angelo Williams was he actually was good. I mean, guys, I sent the video to both of you on email earlier this week. I mean, he's doing flying chest, elbow, shoulders to the face. He's doing back drops, Samoa drops. He was actually very good. So then here's my question to you. You both were outstanding NBA players. Ryan, career is still going on.
My man.
But was there anything for you, Antoine Walker, if you didn't have basketball and you could be a pro or entertainer and something, what would have been what fancied you?
Baseball. I come from a baseball background. My uncle played professional baseball, Chico Walker, and I grew up a huge baseball fan. So that was my first love. I played all the way till I was a sophomore in high school, and then I realized that I was 6'8", and my strike zone, I struck out every other at bat.
Which, by the way, would make you a Hall of Famer if you were getting a hit in every other at bat too, though.
But I actually that was my first love. I played, Jackie Robinson West. I was on that team. That's when a couple years ago we saw that young team from Chicago, Jackie Robinson West, playing in the Little League World Series. I was big. I wanted to play in that and be a part of that. So I played for Jackie Robinson West. I never got as far as those guys did, but baseball is my first love. I would love to do that. So I applaud Tim Tebow.
What position?
Now, Sean, don't say nothing. Don't go at me. But I was a shortstop.
Huh. At 6'8", you were a shortstop?
Yes, I was a shortstop.
Come on.
Listen, I could pick it, and I had a rocket. I know what you want me to be, a first baseman? No.
Yeah, I think you're a first baseman, like a pitcher. I mean, that leverage coming off the mound would be pretty good.
No, I was a shortstop. Used to can pick it.
Okay. Now, and you brought up Tim Tebow. To me, there's a lot of people that were kind of rooting against Tim Tebow to be successful. Since he's been promoted to high single A or single A plus, whatever it is, he's actually doing very well.
Yeah.
I mean, And I kind of get excited. I want to see guys step outside the box and then go do something else. Ryan, what would it be for you?
This is going to make you guys laugh. This is going to puzzle a lot of you because it seems like I've been doing a lot of NFL bashing today. I know it appears that way. That's just because I'm passionate about it. I love the NFL. I'm a Madden gamer. I'm better at Madden than I am at 2K. My dream. I was a high jumper, a triple jumper in college and in high school, got third in the state. But my dream, man, I get out there and line up and play some wide receiver in NFL. I'm not excited about going over the middle, but in goal line situation, I go up and grab a nice little rebound, a nice little touchdown over somebody at 7 feet. And the tallest corner in the league is only 6'4". That's a point guard, and go pull down a touchdown, man. And you know what, Sean? You talked about D'Angelo. I don't like it. I love what he's doing because the guy had an amazing year last year. He balled out before Le'Veon Bell got back. For you fantasy football players, he was an absolute stud and a great pickup for you until Le'Veon Bell showed up. And then he said, while I'm hot, while I still have legs, while I'm still athletic, while I can still enjoy myself, while I'm still relevant, let me go to the WWE. Let me go to the WWF, whatever it is, and make a name for myself and do something I can do for a while. I know I can't do this NFL for too much longer.
Yeah, he actually went to Impact Wrestling. That was the pay-per-view that he was part of. Of course, big news coming out of the WWE this weekend. AJ Styles won the U.S. Championship against Kevin Owens in a non-televised event from Madison Square Garden on Friday night. Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view coming up later on tonight. Do you guys want to guess what I would have gone with after I just said what I just said?
You're a wrestler.
I would have gone pro wrestling all day long. See, here's the thing. Growing up in the Bay Area, I used to go to all the events. My dad was a police officer in San Francisco, so occasionally we'd get to sneak in the back door of the Cow Palace, which was just a horrible venue. But we'd sneak in the back door there and be able to watch wrestling. And there was one time that I was WWE Fan of the Week. I was interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund back in 1987 at a then WWF Superstars taping that took place inside the Cow Palace. And after that, I was like, man, I'm destined. I want to be in WrestleMania. I want to be a professional wrestler. It would be the greatest. It would be so awesome. You get to travel the globe. You get to be physical and break people in half and all those other things. And then, obviously, did not go that route for me. But I would have been like D'Angelo Williams. I would have loved to be D'Angelo Williams' tag team partner in an event. I would do that, and I would train too.
So he was pretty good, though. He was pretty good. That was really good.
His timing was actually really, really good. People don't understand the artistry that goes in on that. I actually went to a WWE event here in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago as Monday Night Raw was in the building, and it's such an electrifying show. And people can say, oh, it's fake and all that stuff. Yeah, it's true, but there's when you watch some of those guys do flips over the top ropes, that to me is pretty crazy. I definitely couldn't do that at all.
Man, Sean, I don't know, man. I don't think you should go. Don't do it. Don't do it.
You could have done it, Sean. I believe.
I would have been good on the mic, though. I would have been good on the mic. Cutting promos would have probably been my strength of my professional wrestling.
No.
Let me tell you, brother. Yeah.
Hey, Sean, it's not about – you could be a decent wrestler. Maybe you don't have to do the jumps. You're 6'8". I can see you yoked, maybe getting to a 270, 280, roided up, man. But your talk would be –
No, I don't want to do roids. I don't want to shorten my life.
You have to. You can't halfway do it, man. You got to go – you're all in. Sean, who's your favorite – who would your trash talk be like?
Oh, Stone Cold.
Ooh.
I think Stone Cold Steve Austin was the greatest smack talker in the history of professional wrestling.
What? Over the Rock? Over the Rock?
That or Ric Flair. Yes.
Oh, man. Come on, man.
Come
the Rock.
On. Ric
Macho
Flair,
Man. Are you kidding
Austin.
Me?
Now, Antoine, by the way, is just completely lost in this conversation. Has completely removed himself out of it. I have silenced it.
That's the thing. Wrestling wasn't my thing. So you want me to? I can't chime in on something that
No. I don't want. What was your thing? What was your thing when you were growing up as a kid?
I did like wrestling. I was a big, I like Hulk Hogan and that whole main event on Saturday night. I used to I used to watch it. I wasn't saying I was like.
But what was your thing outside of that? You did baseball, which we just learned. All right, obviously basketball. But what was something else? Did you like Legos? Did you? What did you like? I want to know. I want to get to know Antoine Walker better right now on ESPN Radio.
I was born. I like to collect cards. I like to collect baseball cards and football cards. I was born. I didn't really.
What was your favorite card growing up? You always had that favorite card.
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton.
My Walter Payton football card. Yeah.
I had a cheap Michael Jordan card. You know what's funny? Like, as a kid, those cards mean so much because I had some random players, and when I see them, I'm still hyped. Like, I saw Hersey Hawkins, and I was like, yo, that's Hersey Hawkins right there. Dog. I had your card. You don't understand.
To me, my card that I got that my dad gave me on Christmas Day was a Nolan Ryan second year. It wasn't his rookie card, but it was his second-year card. And Nolan Ryan, to me, he was just the toughest, hard-nosed dude when he went out on the mound and pitched. His mental toughness that he was able to sustain over the course of his career in Major League Baseball. That stood out most to me.
This is The Locker Room on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
You know, my whole career I've always been, kind of the people's champ in the locker room.
This is The Locker Room Podcast.
We're at that point in time in the season now. We're talking about the All-Star Game, the Home Run Derby coming up right around the corner. The Cubbies hitting their stride today. John Lester on the hill gave up 10 runs in the first inning to the Pirates. What is going on with your Cubs, Antoine Walker?
Just trying to get the All-Star break, Sean. We'll get the All-Star break, get everybody back healthy, and we'll be fine. Make a run the second half of the season.
Only 4.5 games back as it stands right now to the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, I'll be honest, I came into this season with high hopes for my team. But I'm already checked out. I don't have to watch a single game in Major League Baseball the rest of the season because my team is already 26 games out of first place. The San Francisco Giants.
Wow.
I mean, it has just been from Madison Bumgarner riding his dirt bike to Buster Posey being the only guy on the team that consistently can hit. It has been just a head-scratching, painful season so far for the San Francisco Giants that entered today 34-55. So if that makes you feel any better about giving up 10 runs in the first inning for your Cubbies today,
I have plenty of years like that. I have plenty of years. Let me enjoy these last couple of years have been great for me. We've been a playoff team. Let me enjoy this. You've had one bad year. Don't do that, Sean. One bad year for you.
No, I know. I'm still riding with my team, but it's just it's not like that 5-year stretch where they won 3 World Series in 5 years. It's just not that way. Ryan, who's your team?
My Dodgers are doing well, but you guys have won something. We're winning now, but we want to win it all. We don't care about this regular
Dodgers got
season.
60 wins already.
Yeah, but we need we need the belt. We need to win it. Okay, that's how that matters. Okay, this is nice.
I think you're right, Ryan. 1988 is a long, long time ago for Dodger fans, and the Dodgers have had great regular seasons.
I was 4 years old.
They've gone into the postseason, and they have not closed the deal. Expectations now continue to increase. To me, this is the team, and it's been built the right way, too. If you look at it with Bellinger coming up, a lot of young talent that have come through their system that understand how to play Dodger baseball, and Dave Roberts has done a tremendous job as manager. I mean, he won Manager of the Year last year, easily is probably the clubhouse leader right now for what he's done with his Dodgers roster already. You have to be giddy and excited right now, Ryan Hollins.
Yeah, I'm excited. And with the Home Run Derby coming up, Cody Bellinger going into – I want to see him win it. I want to see him do well. You know what's funny, Sean? As well as the Dodgers are doing, at home, 66% of the fans can't even watch Dodger games because of the Time Warner package. 66% of fans can't even watch – don't even know the Dodgers, don't even know who. And it's we are one of the hottest teams in baseball right now, and fans
it just
can't
encourages
even
them to go to the ballpark. It encourages them to go to the ballpark. Of course, you mentioned the Home Run Derby. It's tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Radio. Carl Ravitch is calling the Derby on television. John Shambi, Boog, with Chris Singleton on the call on radio. This year, to me, look, we can get excited because we know that Gino Carlisle Stanton, otherwise known as Mike Stanton, who went to high school in Southern California at Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks, he is at home. He is going to put on a Home Run Derby show. However, I think to me, it's about the – what?
I think you're finna say it. I'm gonna let you finish your statement because I think you're about to say it. Because we got a young guy. We got a young guy in New York.
It's about the rookies. It's about Aaron Judge and it's about Cody Bellinger and what I think they're going to do on this big stage. How they will shine because Aaron Judge in particular, guys. and we've seen the video. If you've watched SportsCenter this past week, if you've logged on to ESPN.com, his batting practices are becoming a show, reminiscent of what Mark McGwire was bashing him out of the park at such a large rate.
This
and
what brought baseball back. This what brought baseball back before. Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, when they went to their home runs derby right there. This will remind that this derby might be well watched. This might bring some big ratings. This derby.
Yeah. I mean, does the emergence of Judge and Bellinger excite you as maybe? I mean, look, I like my Giants. I don't really pay attention to everything that's going on in Major League Baseball because it's not my central sport that I follow. But Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger have me looking at box scores every day right now.
When you have two big young guns that are rising in L.A. and New York of all markets, that's huge for the sport. This is big, and people love highlights. They love highlights. They love home runs. They love touchdowns. They love slam dunks. So while these guys are knocking them out the park and they're still young and have bright futures ahead of them, this is great for baseball. I may watch this derby. It's been a while since I watched, but I'm actually intrigued with watching the home run derby now.
I've always been watching on the home.
You're boycotting.
Wait, why are you boycotting?
Because the Cubs are not well represented in this All-Star weekend. I'm boycotting.
Wow.
I find it's just an injustice that we're not well represented in this All-Star. I'm sorry.
Really?
I'm boycotting.
Wow.
All right, because I will tell you this. I was shocked that the Dodgers, who have clearly the best record in baseball, have been playing at the highest of levels. Do you know how many fans voted in them as a starter? How many starters they had voted in by the fans? Zero.
Whose fault is Sean, don't get me started. We can run on this. Get me started.
And to me, that's a problem when you're talking about the All-Star game and the best talent, because there's no way, shape, and form that you wouldn't see at least a couple of Dodgers in the starting lineup.
Please stop. Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? Because please don't go there. Whose fault is it?
It's the league for allowing the fans to make the vote.
No, it's not. It's the Dodgers' fault. Fans can't even watch the games.
Oh, please,
it's so
Ryan,
hard to go and vote. They can't watch. They don't know. It's about the kids voting.
Then
the
you're
kids
not,
going
you're not a
that.
Dodger fan. If you don't know who the best players are on the Dodgers, Ryan, because you simply can't watch them on television, then you're not really a Dodger fan.
Out of sight, out of mind, Sean.
Things. Ryan, you know how you vote nowadays? It's crazy.
Out of sight, that's cool, but out of sight, out of mind. These kids don't even know who the Dodgers are. It's about the kids. It's about the youth. It's about the people who can't afford games. In L.A., you know how much going on.
My son is a Giants fan. He just walked into the room with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the middle of the show. I have no idea why he's doing that. But even he knows who Cody Bellinger is.
Well,
right?
Your sons are
listen,
the Farnham family brand is well-versed in sports. But for the rest of us, out of sight, out of mind, especially when LeVar Ball is out blowing things up. The NFL is just making a little stir.
You bring it back to Big Baller Brand and LeVar Ball again. LeVar Ball does not impact the Dodger fan base.
They're very inside and in mind. And in Los Angeles, there's a lot to do. You know how it is at UCLA. When we ain't doing nothing, we ain't hot. Ain't nobody coming to those games, but we're blowing it up and we're tearing things up. Everybody's in Westwood. So in L.A., you got to be making something happen. People have to be able to see you. You can't go out of sight, out of mind. We're not Oklahoma football. We're not one of these small town, small city places where you are the biggest show on earth. In L.A., everything is going on. So these fans need to be able to see games. It's not the fans' fault, man. It's the Dodger organization and that TV deal's fault. Something needs to change. Come on.
Okay, but you're talking about when things are going right, L.A.'s hot. L.A.'s got the best record in Major League Baseball right now. They are hot, Ryan.
There's still a lot going on. That's a great point, but there's a lot going on.
You're making excuses because do you want to go back to the TV deal or say that there's other things going on?
Okay.
There's always other things
Sean,
going on in L.A. There's
other
things going on in Chicago.
Sean, what happened when people couldn't see Laker games?
They rioted in the streets.
And things changed. They ain't rioting for the Dodgers. It is what it is. It's Los Angeles. You got to know your market, right, Twan?
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm boycotting the whole weekend. So you guys continue arguing. I mean, we gave up 10 runs today. We got one All-Star. This things ain't not looking good for us.
Hey, you guys know more baseball. If you give up 10 runs in the first, you got to be questioning this guy's longevity as a pro. Is he injured? That's a problem.
It's just a bad start.
It's a bad start.
Man, that's some little league stuff. You give up 10 in the first?
It happens.
Oh, so you want to get rid of John Lester because of that?
It's like getting blown out.
John Lester. I mean, look, Madison Bumgarner in his rehab start in single-A San Jose this week gave up 4 home runs in 1 inning and I think a total of 8 runs, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? Like, does that make me go, I'm the Giants, I'm not bringing Madison Bumgarner back up? No, I'm Madison Bumgarner on my roster.
I hear
it. Okay, so you cannot to one start. If a guy goes 0 for 12, do you all of a sudden demote him and put him at it?
But listen, 0 for 12 in a basketball game is a lot different than your pitcher giving up the cakes. That's like throwing 4 or 5 interceptions as a quarterback, just stinking it up. That's a problem.
It's nice like that.
Eli Manning has done that multiple times over the course of his career.
And you see how New York feels about Eli.
Listen, we had Jay Cutler's quarterback for the last 8-9 years, so I've seen some interceptions thrown. Don't do that.
I'm sorry, Twan.
Do we need to do an intervention right now with you, Antoine Walker? Do we need to have an intervention with you and break down all of Chicago sports?
No, we won the title. We won the World Series last year. I'm still riding that wave.
Okay, so you're happy there, but you're not happy with the Bears.
Totally not happy with the Bears. We're in a bad situation right now.
This is The Locker Room on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Ryan, we've talked about you being in Las Vegas. I thought you were just there to help promote Big Baller Brand, but evidently there's multiple reasons for you being in Las Vegas?
No, that is not why I'm here. I'm actually here on official top-notch business. I'm working with the NBA.
What are you doing in Vegas?
I'm working with the NBA. And there's a NBA player development program in which we talk to every single rookie here at Summer League and tell them what to do and what not to do and try to help them out so they don't make boneheaded mistakes that we have made. They play in an age of camera phones and Twitter and social media, so trying to warn them is best to be safe. You know, that's something that the players, even when I first came to the league, did not have to worry about to this level that they have to worry about. And just how to deal with the organization, how to deal with their stresses, just a bunch of life coaching, a bunch of mentoring, a bunch of player development, you know.
You're essentially doing freshman orientation for the NBA.
In so many words, yes, but as a player, I try to be really cool about it and not boring.
Right.
And yeah, we try to.
What do you do?
Real
how much thought
spicy.
How much thought goes into it? And let me ask you this twofold: how much thought have you put into what you say? And then, second of all, when you're up there and you're talking to these rookies, do you kind of try to put yourself in their shoe of like how they would tune people out so often in those kind of settings?
Absolutely, because you're bored as heck up there and you don't want to do it, and these guys just came from practice and they can run all over the place, but, hey, it's part of the job. For me, I just try to speak from my heart, man, and hopefully these guys take the lesson. I always believe when you're doing things like this, if you can change one life, maybe 2, and you make that one kid from making that huge mistake, it's all worth it. And there's a kid there's that Sean Farnham in the front row that's glued into everything we're saying. That kid's going to be all right. You know, he may pick up something that we're saying, but he doesn't need us. It's that one kid that's going to make that stupid mistake in Vegas and essentially ruin his career. So we're focusing on that guy in the back of the room that's not listening.
Okay, let me ask you this then, because both of you have been in this situation. Both of you played in the NBA. I'll start with you, Antoine Walker. What would you tell yourself if you could go back and be a rookie and you were talking to yourself as an experienced person as you are now? What would you tell your rookie self?
Oh, that's a tough question, it's also a good question. But even what Ryan's doing right now, I've been fortunate enough, and it's been well documented. 2 years after I officially retired, I filed for bankruptcy. So I've taken the last 2.5 years of my life through Morgan Stanley to be able to go back and help student athletes and try to change that narrative. The guys, student athletes, make sure they change their mindset and make sure they take care of their money. And it's been a great platform for me to be able to share my story and be open and transparent with them. So, I mean, for me, it's tough because I try to go back. I came in at 19 years old. You never really think about a lot of things that you're going to deal with. And it's kind of weird. I mean, like I said before, I never went through Summer League. It's weird that you guys are doing it down there, Ryan, right now with so much going on for them, with their families being down there and they're actually playing. I know they do rookie transition program too. But for me, it'll probably be just – it's tough to say, Sean, because when you come in, you just want to play and you become a millionaire really overnight, and so many things are coming at you. It's tough to kind of really pick out one thing that I would tell myself. But probably just slow down a little bit. But it's tough at 19. You know, the world has changed, so it changed so fast for you. And I didn't even play in the social media era, so you know that kind of helped me out. These guys now, it's even harder for them because everything they do is put on social media. They can't really have a social life and keep things private. They got to be really, really smart. So I commend Ryan and the NBA for doing that because there's so many things that they got to deal with that I didn't have to deal with coming into the league.
Well, that's amazing thing when you look at this year's NBA draft. You look at picks number 1 through 10. I think only one of them was actually over 20 years of age. All of them were freshmen except for the one pick that came from overseas that would have been a freshman had he played in the college system. So, Ryan, I'll ask you the same question. What would you tell your rookie self?
Well, I do also want to piggyback off what Twan said. And listen, not only is it a sold-out crowd, not only are these guys the most popular show in the NBA right now, these women are out here walking around in swimsuits and nothing on, and they know who they are, and there's just so many snares that we need. Like, Twan, I was in Orlando. That's a closed practice summer league when we had summer league. We came out to Vegas one year, but it was my third year. I was hip to the game. These kids' first NBA experience is out here in Vegas. They're getting thrown in the lion's den, so they need what we're hearing. If I could talk to a young Ryan Hollins, part about UCLA is we kind of get trained for the media and how not to make stupid mistakes and stuff like that. So, Sean, we were blessed to have that opportunity. But I would tell a young Ryan Hollins to make sure that you go rebound, you defend, you block shots, you do all the dirty work, but to be a little more selfish, to make sure that you expand your game. You work on your handles. You work on your shot. Do all those things that make you who you are, but never stop growing as a player and be selfish to go out and do that. I've been such a team player that I think to an extent it's hurt me, has hurt me in the league. But to keep growing, and it's unfortunate because you have a lot of people that maybe didn't see the trends of the NBA and were like, we don't need you shooting a jumper. Get down there and shoot a jump hook. They don't pay for jump hooks no more, man. You know, it's definitely not the same. They pay for shooting and guys who can handle the ball, like Antoine Walker. He was ahead of his time. For me, when I train my son, if that comes around, train my boys up, they're gonna be big point guards.
It's hard to imagine. I mean, you talk about the NBA, who is very conscious about having a sports franchise potentially in Las Vegas and the reasons for why they don't. Yet they take all of their rookies and they put them in Las Vegas. I mean, it's kind of hard to process and understand that. I mean, am I the only one that sees that?
No, I understand that, but that's why I would say I was surprised that they actually used that, use Las Vegas to actually decide to have these talks and meetings. But I guess if you're going to have some league in Vegas, it's the best place to talk to them at is out there. So I'm glad they are doing that for the guys. It's much needed, and they getting put to the fire right away, like Ryan said. The women are out there. You got gambling out there. You got, you got everything possible that anything that can go wrong can happen out there at that time.
Hey, it's nuts. But at the same time, Twan, they got 30 guys fighting for one spot or two spots. So it's a way to get these dudes cut also. We trying to tell you, man. I played 10 years because it was guys that messed their money up. How I tell these athletes, don't mess your money up. I got to practice on time. I stayed after and worked hard. I shut my mouth and listened. I was the Sean Farnham of the NBA, and it got me 10 years on top of being 7 foot and athletic. So, hey.
Thanks for listening to the Locker Room Podcast. Make sure to subscribe by clicking the Listen tab on the ESPN app.